Hey everybody, I'm Dave with Green the Home Garden. A few months ago, I found some magnolia cuttings, and they weren't really cuttings. They just fell off of a branch. I think a deer had rubbed up against the tree, and I collected what was on the ground and I attempted to root it. So I wanted to give you a little update on how that's doing and how things are going. So I've got my flat right here, which has a variety of different cuttings, and we'll go through some of those to show you what I've got here and if anything is working or not. So, well, let's start with magnolia cuttings right off the bat. And what we had, let me say one thing. We had a really nasty freeze in December. We had a 53-degree temperature drop, which devastated a lot of the broadleaf evergreens, magnolias being one of them. And so I'm not really expecting much from these at this point just because of that. Plus, I probably didn't take these exactly at the right time. I think you need to have more of a greenwood style cutting rather than a hardwood cutting for magnolias. But with that being said, let's take a look. So let me pull this one out here. And you see there's no roots at all. I'm checking to see if there's any kind of callousing. See right there. Not really anything happening on it. Notice the leaves here have all died, and that's pretty much what has happened with everything. Now, is this even still a live cutting? I'm going to scrape it just a little on the side to see if there's even a chance. And I'm not seeing anything alive where I just scraped it at. So I'm going to toss that cutting over to the side. And so I'm going to check these other ones. Whoops, that is not the right cutting. Let's go with this one here. And it's much the same situation. I do see some green at the bottom, but I'm not seeing any kind of roots down there. See, there's the bottom. So those leaves are pretty much gone. I'll take that off. Now the cutting is still kind of pliable, so I can still bend it around and everything. So maybe I'll shove it back in and see if it has a shot at rooting. So we'll just put it back in there. And then here's this other one. And it's not looking quite so well either. There's no callousing here at the bottom. There's not much happening. So either a couple things could have happened. The freeze could have gotten these really good, or maybe something I did with the technique and putting it in, the timing of the year. There's a lot of things that can go wrong with that. But anyway, I'm going to get rid of that cutting. I'll just leave the one that I have in here. But it was worth a shot. Sometimes you experiment a little bit and some things do not work out. But let's take a look at this other flat here. A few days ago, I actually put these in. They haven't rooted yet, but there's some dappled willow cuttings. So I just kind of stuck them. I didn't even use rooting hormone on them. With willows, you generally don't have to. Now these I know have rooted because I checked them a couple weeks ago and they had. Let me pull this out. This is a fruiting plum tree. I forget the variety, but I took it as a hardwood cutting in the fall, and you can see right there it has got some really good roots sticking out, already started, and it's got all these blossoms popping out here. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to pick these blossoms off because I don't want it exerting energy into those. I would rather have leaves come out and more roots. So we'll let leaf growth come out, but we're not going to allow any of those flowers to happen. So I'm going to have to dig this one back in. And I think I've got two more cuttings just like that one in this flat that have also rooted. Yeah, that one's got some resistance. So I'm going to need to pot those up here in a little bit. Some other things I've got some arborvitae cuttings, which I don't think have started yet. The arborvitaes took a lot of damage in that winter freeze. And you can look back at my arborvitae video and check out what I've done there. This one may have a little bit of something happening to it. No, not yet. Just too early. So I'll just stick those back in. The cuttings are green. They're healthy. So I'm not going to do anything else with those. Over here, looks like a maple cutting that I might have done. And we don't have any roots on that yet. I think a lot of these it's just too early for. So there's your update on the magnolia cuttings. They did not root like I was hoping they would, and of course we had a few mitigating circumstances around them. They began with a deer rub. They were left around on the ground for I don't know how long. Maybe it was that day, maybe it was 2 or 3 days ahead of time in which they had enough time to dry out. The third thing, which is I think the major thing, is that the flash freeze we had in December 53-degree freeze really devastated all those broadleaf evergreens. And I think that would be a major factor on these cuttings. The other thing is time of year. I think they typically root better if they are greenwood cuttings rather than if they are hardwood cuttings. And so my timing in the year probably didn't work out. But next time, I'll take them at a different time of year. I will take maybe late spring cuttings instead of fall cuttings and see what works out. Anyway, I'm Dave with Growing Your Home Garden. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe, and we'll have more propagation videos later this year.